Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Supernatural Saturdays. This is our second show so far, and we're just getting going. Please forgive us if there are any technical glitches. We are working on getting them sorted out. It's a whole new learning curve for me, so you might see some lags or delays. If anybody can offer some ideas and suggestions about quick ways I can remove or adjust the frame rate, etc., or what I need to adjust technologically to produce a better signal for you, I'd welcome those suggestions and information. Anyway, it was Supernatural Saturdays about uh, Saturday being a super day, our being able to recognize and hear and tap into and tune into other dimensions of consciousness and other natural for us. And Supernatural Saturdays is about communicating, connecting with those beings, and also being able to talk to them and get questions answered. So later on in the program will have you ask questions, and you can call in. We'll call in the masters who are available for you, your divine angels, your guides, whatever beings want to communicate with you. But I want to bring you a bit of an update about the 1 billion strong movement on Facebook, which we started a couple months ago. That there's been some fascinating things released over the last couple of weeks. One of those things released was the fact that there have been no 7.0 earthquakes for over 110 days. That's never happened before in our recorded history, in our immediate recorded history. That's never happened to go this long without a 7.0 earthquake. And we attribute that to this intention of love that we are encouraging everybody to engage themselves in for 30 to 60 seconds every day, just moving into a state of love and grace at 12 a.m. and 12 p.m., creating that state of love and grace and putting that energy out there. And we're seeing results. So there have been no 7.0 earthquakes for over 110 days. And they also released a report that the ozone hole over the Antarctica is now the smallest it's ever been since they started monitoring it, which is fascinating. Again, we are not saying that we are directly responsible for that, but we do know for a fact, and they've always been telling me, that whatever we think and feel alters and changes time, space around us. It affects people, events, and circumstances. And it's amazing when you begin to realize that the way you feel, that you have choice over what you feel, you have choice over what you think. When you have those two pieces in place, then you can begin to open your mind and your heart to a creative process that will allow you to tap into higher guidance. Master Jesus, Buddha, Jamal Ipsiku, many other beings are available for all of us to communicate with, to answer our questions, to offer us guidance when we're not sure. The very, very, very first time I ever heard a voice that was not my own voice speaking was about 40 years ago when I was going to jump off a bridge here in Toronto. And the voice said to me, "Don't jump." It said, "Get down off the bridge. Go to the payphone and call this phone number and ask for this man." And at that time, I didn't realize the profoundness of that event. I was in such a state at that point in my life. I was very troubled youth at that point in time. Um, that I didn't question where the voice came from, except for the moment where I'm looking around trying to find out where's that voice come from. And many, many years later, I learned that it was my guardian angel, John, who was there to stop me from jumping off that bridge. Outside of what you think you know, they constantly tell us what we think, what you think you know interferes with what you can really know, what is really available to you. So learning to get past what we think is real is very important. They tell me one of the best ways to learn to become sensitive is to learn how to make your mind and your body quiet and still. And it's actually very simple. I have a technique that they taught me a few years ago that I've used repeatedly, and I'm at a point now where my mind does not make much noise at all unless I'm looking for something in it, and then it gives me information that I'm asking for. Because that's all our mind is supposed to be, right? It's just supposed to be an instrument that stores information that we can retrieve and use. It's not meant to be a frame of reference for who we are. Anyway, the technique they taught me when my mind was like, and a lot of people, I'm part of many groups where a lot of people are troubled with this noise in their mind, the constant noise and feeling that they can't get under control. And there's a simple thing that they taught me. And they said, just simply take your index finger and you put it to your mouth and you just make this sound. And they said, do that 3 times. And I did 2 more times. And I noticed the thoughts in my mind just went quiet. And the very first time I experienced that, I was like, wow, it was that easy that my mind could be made quiet. And I practiced that many, many times. And as I said, you get to a place where your mind is your servant, not your master. So Supernatural Saturdays is about learning to master this, connect to your divine guides and beings, because they're available to all of you right now. You're not isolated or separate from them. They're with us all of the time. I get a question I get asked a lot is, well, how come I can't hear them and you can? And there's one very simple answer. What level of consciousness are you vibrating at? Because the level of consciousness that we're vibrating at determines what we can receive and what we can send out. And an example of a low vibrational state is someone who drinks a lot of caffeine or smokes cigarettes or does alcohol, drinks alcohol, eats lots of processed foods, doesn't exercise, doesn't take care of their body will be at a low vibrational plane of energy, and it can't receive high vibrational information. It's much the same way as if you took a radio set that you want to listen to, if it was slightly damaged, or you're driving your car away from the city and you get out of range of a certain frequency, you're enjoying the music, and all of a sudden it starts going crackle, 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 and you can feel the signal getting weak. When you're on a low vibrational plane of energy physically, it's like that car getting far away from being able to hear the signal of these divine beings that are around us all of the time. And the same thing is true for our mind. If your mind is constantly going, blah, 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 it's very hard for you to tap into those higher frequencies, which are love based. They all communicate from a vibrational frequency of love, joy, peace, happiness, contentment, positivity. And those are frequencies that we deliberately have to learn to cultivate in our bodies, learn to cultivate in our minds. I went through a long process because I had to do this mostly on my own. I went through a long process of learning to change the vibrations in my body, to make it more perfect, to stop drinking, to stop smoking. I smoked cigarettes for 30 years. I drank caffeine pretty much 2 to 4 cups every day for most of my life. I stopped that. I stopped alcohol. All that stuff stopped. And as I stopped, my mind and my body became less stressed because now I wasn't placing a load on them. I changed what I was eating. I began to eat more food that was living and alive. So my body's become more filled with life, right? So you want to begin to tune your system to a different frequency of energy, a different frequency of consciousness, so that what your ears will hear and what your eyes will see will change. And that's all you're doing by changing what you eat and what you do with your body. You're adjusting the frequency. You can raise it or you can lower it. If you have a lower frequency, you will pick up lower frequency energy and signals and consciousness. If you're a higher frequency, you'll hear higher beings. There are times where somebody can be in a really low state, really depressed or sad, as I was that day on the bridge. You can be in a really deep, dark state of negative energy and emotion. And with your soul, and I remember as I was climbing off that bridge, I said, if anybody could help me, please help me. And that was the last thing I thought as I climbed up on the bridge and I was getting ready to put my foot out and jump. And then the voice spoke and came through my darkness. That voice spoke and said, don't jump. And everybody has that. And it's happened many times. If you learn to listen, if you really ask for help, they'll always, or a phone call. But the minute you find yourself in a place where your mind and your body are overwhelming you with symptoms and thoughts and emotions that don't serve you, learn to make them quiet. Start to drink more water. Like I drink water by the bucket. You know, we drink 18 liters every 2.5 days between two of us in our home. Water produces conductivity in your body. It lets the electrical signals in your body flow more freely, as does iron and copper and other essential metals that our body needs, zinc, that helps electrical conductivity, because this is an electrical instrument we live in. And yeah, they're always telling me, he says, it's important, if this is tuned, if this is healthy and vibrant, you'll get information that's healthy and vibrant, that lifts you up. Really important. And now this morning to me, in my meditation this morning, this being named Jamal Ipsiku, who I've encountered twice, once about 5 months ago and once again about 2 months ago. And the first time that I encountered him, he spoke through me for close to an hour and a half. We fortunately have that recording. I think it's up on my YouTube channel. And in that recording, he talked about how humanity over 70,000 years ago lived in what we call Africa, was then called Eden. That humanity as a whole functioned harmoniously throughout the entire planet. That animals, all living creatures, there were no ice caps then. It was a temperate system where food was readily available virtually anywhere on the planet. It grew on the trees, it grew in the ground. There was no need to cultivate food the way we do today because the whole planet was available for us to utilize. All the land masses were available. The Antarctica, the Arctic were all available land masses to us. And science has, over the last 50, 60 years, has found, of course, palm trees buried in the permafrost in the North Poles. They're finding lots of evidence down in the South Pole now that that was also a temperate place. So there's tons of evidence that demonstrates that there was a time in our history where we could live anywhere, with shorts and t-shirts. He appeared to me there was this long gown that went around him with a shoulder wrap. And Jamal, very tall, regal being. And he said, what happened 70,000 years ago is people began to get into a creative process that started generating too much fear. They began to fight amongst each other. And there began a process of fear-based being. They started to fight over things that weren't necessary to fight over. And as that process continued to evolve, he said the emotion called fear began to destabilize the electrical balance of the life on the planet. And he said that continued for close to 300 years. That process built up and built up where people were in anger and fear. And the net result was the planetary system did what scientists call a polar flip, which is an electrical response to the emotional change in the potential of people at that point of time and space. And he said that's when that happened, there was a massive shift in the way the water moved around the planet, the way the skies functioned, the Earth's rotational axis shifted, so that we now develop these ice caps then. And he said we are at a point in our current time in human conditions where humanity again has this process of fear has become the dominant emotion in the electrical frequency, former and natural glory, right? Which is pretty profound to think that human beings electrically interact with everything around them. We do all the time. We don't think of it as electrical energy. We think of it as sound waves when we're speaking, right? Or visual light waves when we're seeing with our eyes. But it's all electrical phenomena at different rates and frequency of vibration that we have the capacity and the ability to alter and change by what we think and what we feel. And the reality is each and every one of us has the power to choose what we think and feel. But he says most of you today are so caught up in that box you watch called television, watching all of these things that perpetuate your fear and your sadness and your loss and your sense of respect and trust for one another is greatly skewed by these things that you allow into your mind that alters what you think and believe about the world around you. It is time you return back to formulating your view and understanding of what you would like to see the world as being. And any intelligent being would know that that would be a state of love or grace. He says, this is the goal here. The goal is for you to restore yourself to love and grace. That in turn will restore all around you to love and grace. It is a well-known fact that if you hear a certain sound that makes you feel good, you often will find yourself moving to that sound. It's so important then to be able to do that intentionally, to induce the changes in the world around you that would sustain and alter the environment in which you find yourself. But learning to do this can be problematic for some of you if you do not learn to change what you put in here and what you put in here. For what you put in here and what you put in here affects what you put out there. It changes and maintains your reality in very specific and precise ways. What was really fascinating for me, thank you, Jamal. What was really fascinating for me is just recently there was an article released that scientists, paleontologists now discovered that the first modern humans that we call ourselves Homo sapiens, the first modern humans have actually been discovered as originating from a point in Africa. And Jamal the other day confirmed for me that this is the place where where Eden, the Garden of Eden story originated from, where in reality the whole planet was Eden, but that particular place had the name Eden. But the whole planet was like a paradise back in those days. And our emotional instability and our uncertainty with who we are caused this imbalance. So the 1 billion strong movement we started is the process of humans coming together, hoping to bring 1 billion people together between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. For 30 to 60 seconds, just focus on being in a state of love as you understand love to be. One of the things when John told me we were doing this, he said, every single human being understands what their vibrational feeling of love is. Anybody can stop and ask themselves to feel love within themselves. He says, anybody who chooses to stop and says, what does love feel like? He says, you will feel something inside you that you will know is good. It is different than your fear, for you'll feel it. He says, as you allow yourself to feel that, you can give it attention and it will grow inside of you. So ask yourself what that love is, and then be willing to let yourself be filled with it. Let that vibration expand into your body. Let it expand into the space around you, and allow it to do what it knows how to do, what only love can do. Allow it to change you. And he said, it doesn't matter whether you are living on the street. It doesn't matter if you are in a mansion. Every single human soul on this planet understands within themselves what their meaning and value of love is. And our ability to tap into that can liberate us from a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering that's just our past repeating itself in our minds. But one of the exciting things about day 2 is also taking questions and answers. And I'll see who comes through to answer your questions. Or you can ask for a specific being, and I'll bring them through. Allow them to come through and communicate the way you want in meditation. Last week when we did it, it ended up going on for 3 minutes. When you go into a state of love, and you embrace yourself in that, allow yourself to be saturated by that vibration that you call love, time changes when you go into a different vibration. When you're in a higher vibration of consciousness, time can go by really, really fast. So last week, what we thought was 30 to 60 seconds ended up being like 3 or 4 minutes long. So I'll be more mindful that we stay in that. And so I hope you'll join us for that too. So let's see if we have any questions. Right. Hello, Drusilla. Hello, Miriam. So yeah, the very fascinating thing about love is that it is a vibration that will let you tap into any being you want. Master Jesus is saying, everyone who even puts their attention in their heart and feels their heartbeat can feel God's touch. He says, God touches you with every heartbeat. He lets you will remember and feel the love of the Father, Mother. He says the Father, Mother is the union of all things. It is God, the union of Mother, Father, the male and female consciousness united in oneness. They appear to be separate things in this dimension, but when they are united, they are far greater than anything in this dimension. When you are in love with another, it will take you to states of being that you cannot be in on your own. But he says very clearly, remind everybody, be aware of your heart, feel it, for it is God touching you, reminding you always that he's with you. I love that. Thank you. In a group that we run, a mediumship program we teach, and he's going to be doing 3 meditations on generating new feeling states, how to create new energy in your life to produce different results. So let's see. Victorious, how is this going to shift the planet? That's a great question, Victorious, and there's a really simple principle there. If you were to suddenly hear your favorite song playing on a radio beside you or through a loudspeaker, and how many times does this happen for all of us where we're out and we're sitting and suddenly hear music and you find yourself going to that music or whatever that is for you. Find yourself suddenly in the music, right? It's a vibration called sound. Music comes into your brain, and you feel that vibration, and you go into sync with it. Well, the same thing is true when we put a vibration out. When we're putting out a vibration of love, it alters and changes molecules in time and space around us. There's a wonderful video that I've got posted on our 1 billion strong group wall that shows, and you could go on YouTube and find at other channels, search for sound affecting salt and sand, where they take a device and they pump a sound through it, and on the platform on the speaker is all of the sand or salt, and they change the frequency of the signal coming through the speaker. So it might be 1,000 hertz or 800 hertz, but whenever the frequencies change from one frequency to another, the sand or salt organizes itself into brand new patterns from that frequency. It's really fascinating. I strongly encourage you to search that on YouTube so you can get an idea of why, when we get 1 billion people moving into a state of love, of frequency of love, why that would alter and shift the planet as a whole. Because we are all electrical beings. This planet is an electrical being. All life is electrical in nature. And we alter and change that electrical potential and frequency by what we think and by what we feel at any given point in time. So the more people that get together, the stronger the intensity. So it's like as people come together, the volume or the amplitude or the intensity of the feeling grows, so that eventually it starts to affect more and more space and time around us. And much the same way as you're sitting listening to your favorite song and you find yourself suddenly moving to it or tapping your finger to it, the same thing will happen. The planet will spontaneously begin to respond to and react to the new frequency of love. Right now, the dominant frequency is slightly more fear right now, which is why we're getting all these horrible storms around the planet, why there's unpredictable weather, biblical events happening, because the emotional dominant state electrically is fear. And so that plays out in the environment around us. So important to learn to master what you think and what you feel. Master Jesus is saying, it is what I had always said, as you thinketh, so it shall be. He says, it is very simple, and so many people have made so much unnecessary complexity about what I have taught you, and all you have to do is practice the simple. Change your thinking. Change your thinking. Change your thinking. He says it's that simple. It's no more complex than that. Change this, and this will change. What you feel will change. He's saying, don't expect the whole world to change in a single moment of positive thinking. He's saying the world will change when you can sustain that, when you can stay in the faith of that, when you can stay in the power of that vibration of positivity. It will begin to reorganize your world as it does now automatically, whether you are positive or negative. It is much better to be conscious about what you choose than to be unconscious. Too many of you are unconscious now, and we are here to awaken you. There are many here to awaken you, many that will give you respite from your noisy minds, that will give you the knowledge and information at the simplest levels for you to make great changes in good measure in your life. Do not waste your time focusing on suffering and pain. Get away from anything that would feed your mind with suffering or mistrust or doubt. Seek the good in your life. Allow the good in your mind. I'm not sure what you mean, Drusilla. Can you be more specific about that? Hello, Michael. Let's see. So who's not getting this yet? Well, again, each individual functions on the same principles of energy. We all are identical in one sense, that we have thoughts, we have emotions, we have a body, we have this instrument. We have emotions in our body, and we have a physical mechanism that we can control and work around. Those are the fundamental things we have in common. But we have this awareness that we are, this soul, the one part of us that can be the thinker of the thoughts, the one that is aware of the feelings. And that was something that was really important. I learned a long time ago. Learning to recognize the thoughts that you have in your mind are not who you are. The thoughts in your mind is information that's been put in your brain that you might identify yourself as being, but it's not who you are. Nor are the emotions the definition of who you are. For we know we can change emotions. Anybody can change emotions. You can change them in an instant. You can be depressed, and if you get up and jump and celebrate, your emotion will change immediately. So once you come to the place where you begin to clean the temple up, to become the master, to come home and start to take care of this, clean it up, get the negative thoughts out, get the negative emotions out, and fill it with goodness, fill it with love, fill it with light, wonderful things will start to happen. Because when you change anything within you, it changes everything around you. And I cannot tell you how many times I've observed that. And we all have had experiences like that. And I'm sure, and I know every one of you have had that. Hi, Bridget. Wonderful. So we're going to take some questions. Well, I think we'll hold off on the questions for about 2 more minutes, because we're going to be doing the 30 to 60 second moving into a state of love at least once a day, 12 noon or 12 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 p.m. I do it as often as I can, but I also do it at 12 cells by adjusting the frequency that they project at it. A certain frequency they can put into a leukemia cell and literally explode it. And you can go see that live, getting destroyed by a frequency being put into it. So frequency can create and frequency can destroy, right? To humanity and to the planet as a whole, and allowing ourselves to be filled and expand that feeling out. And we'll be starting that in just a moment or two. And again, I'm seeing a whole bunch of questions popping up. And again, that might be because there's a lag here, and that's okay. We're going to start the meditation now. So basically what I'm going to ask you to do is just take a slow, deep breath. And as you exhale, let your body relax. And then on your second breath, as you exhale, give the body permission to relax. Now take another breath in. And as you exhale, let all the thoughts in your mind become quiet. Turn the volume down on your thoughts. Breathe deeply again. It appears there. And when you feel that vibration of what you call love, breathe deeply and expand that feeling into your body. And as you exhale, expand that feeling of love into your body. Fill your body with it completely. And when you inhale now, expand that feeling of love around of love. Don't think, just feel. You can breathe the feeling in and energize it and expand it even more. And as you exhale, strengthen that vibration of love and expand it out. Just let that feeling radiate out from you. Breathe in again and expand that feeling into your body even more. And just notice the difference in your energy level. Even if it's a slight difference, notice the difference. Because one of the things that your mind and your body will need when you begin to work with different energies, they'll need evidence that they're experiencing something different, as do you. You need to experience the difference, be aware of it. And we know scientifically, the minute you take a slow, deep breath, you're altering your physiology. You're not only altering your physiology, you're asserting your power over this mechanism you call your body. You're asserting your authority over it. And then when you combine that authority with intention, you create changes in your state at will. Um, so I've got a few beings around me right now that are open to questions, and you may actively call somebody if you have any questions or concerns about your life or any other situations you want to look at or examine. Please post them up here, and we'll do the best we can to provide you with the information that they have for you. Um, Yes, again, the buffering will be adjusted next week. I understand I have to change something in my settings and the software that I'm using that will allow this system to work properly with the way YouTube receives the signal from my system to it. So I've got to adjust the speed so they function at the same speed together. If anybody knows a simple and easy way to do that, please send me a direct message. You can send it to my email, williammichaelforbes59@gmail.com, and I'll really appreciate that. Um, so, wow, I haven't heard anybody ask for Lord Adama. That's wonderful. Uh, there's this great joy that's just filled my heart. Um, wow. He's saying, stand behind your heart. Stand behind your heart and move forward. Put your heart first in all that you do. Put your heart first in all that you do. Wow. I just feel my energy, really strong, powerful energy, but it's really balanced too. Like it's not a dominant male energy, it's a balanced male female energy. Um, he says, you know where you must do this. You know that you need to do this the most. He's saying, you know where you need to do this the most. Stand behind your heart. Is there another way to put that? What you have felt in today in love, stand behind that. Let that be what you move forward with first. He's saying there's a particular area where you've been challenged with that it's important you put love as the forefront. You move through that with love, not with judgment, not with uncertainty, but with a purposeful intention of love. He's saying that will get you the outcome that you're seeking. Cool. Um, well, you can also, if anybody's come on late, that's totally okay because the replay will be up on the YouTube channel. And again, I'll be live like this every Saturday now, from 11:30 to 12:30, because they said to me that it's really important that we continue to build this vibration of love up, to connect people to their higher beings to work with us. There are higher frequency beings, there are lower frequency beings, and they're going to be giving us so much, many different ways of overcoming the lower self, the old patterns, the old behaviors through this medium. One of the things they say it's important to do is make sure you're drinking lots and lots of water and learn to get away from low vibrational foods. You want to change the vibration of the stuff that's going into your body so that you raise the vibrational frequency of the body. Our body is an antenna. It's a transmitting and receiving station, and it can only transmit or receive information that's at the quality that the form is capable of receiving it. In other words, if your body is not, it is that you're putting in the body is not good for processed foods, get away from processed foods. Getting out and grounding too, making sure you connect to the earth regularly is really important. You can do so many things to get your body in a state of being that supports and sustains any outcome you want to create with your life. If the body's not, wow, something about your a relationship. This is for an issue you have with your heart. It's really overwhelming for me. Um, there's action when the time is right. You need more knowledge and information. You can make a better decision, but you have to make decisions from here and here, not from here alone. In the right information from that perspective to go forward in the same way or a different way. They're saying a different way. You need to do this differently. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but you need to do that, whatever that is, differently. Um, yeah. Again, I don't ask them to repeat it, and they repeat it to you so you can get that information. I'm sorry for the buffering, guys. We'll have this sorted out next week. This is only my second time going live, and apparently there's some software I'm supposed to get. So if anybody out there has some technical knowledge on how I can utilize a different software to go live, please let me know. Email me at williammichaelforbes59@gmail.com, and I welcome your that we all exist in, that we all move through, that provides us with all that we could ever need. He's saying, let your mind come between you and what you need to hear of the truth. For your mind will only remind you of that which was before, not of what you need to know now. For what you need to know now is now that's hurting you, and look the other way. Don't listen to it when it calls you back. And like I said, I was a serious alcoholic in my teenage years and my early adult years. And I harmed a lot of people. I harmed myself a lot. I went through situations and circumstances that were appalling and disturbing. And I find many people are servants of the servants rather than masters of the servant. And it's so important to understand that. Master Jesus is saying state of love. Every time you access a really simple way that they taught me, if my mind got too loud, would tell me to put my left hand over my heart. They said, and feel, it said, once you put your hand, I love you all. I love all of you. Okay. Again, this will all be resolved next week. Again, as we gain more momentum, as I get used to this, there's a lot of new things for me to learn here too. But they're saying just go forward. So again, every Saturday from 11:30 to around 12:30, we will be joining and walking through and bringing different messages. If anybody's got any other questions, let's see if I missed anything. Christine, look at all these questions that suddenly buffered up. So I'm getting it at my end too, guys, where the questions suddenly appear in a big flow of questions, which is exciting. So Christine is asking, why is it so hard to stop overthinking? I got emotional sometimes and can't switch off my frustration about situations at work or about how I react. Then I just feelings about situations at work or about how I react. Then I just feeling so disappointed in myself. Okay. There's a simple process that, again, I think what they just said will aid you. Literally, if you do this right now, Catherine, literally just put your hand over your heart and feel the sensation between your hand and your heart. Feel that sensation there. And just allow yourself to feel that sensation. And when you feel that sensation, take a deep breath. Breathe that sensation into your body, like you can fill your body with it. And then exhale and repeat that. And notice what happens the moment did you notice what happened the moment you became aware of the sensation? between the hand and the heart. What did you feel there? And once you start to tap into different feeling energies, you have a different place to focus your attention. They're saying to me right now that what you tend to do is you focus on all of the feelings and problems out there associated with them, but you have not learned how to connect to a place inside yourself like that. They're saying if you do this frequently and approach your work and approach your life from that feeling place, practice that feeling place, and approach your work and your life from there, you will say things and do things very differently than you currently have been. And the stressing have been as in how you have been doing it. For you will speak differently and you will act differently from that energy. Wow. Thank you. uh, uh, Sharon. Wow. First words they're saying to me, Sharon, is you need to turn the dial down on your worry. You need to release your worry. They're saying the solutions you're asking for and the guidance you're seeking is right on the on the other side of that thin veil. They're saying your worry is a thin veil, and to put it aside, push it aside. They're saying push it aside, and then ask and listen. You cannot hear us through worry. You cannot find solutions through worry. You can only create more worry with worry. But you are not the worrier. The worrier is what you've been taught to be. But you can choose something different now. We have shown all of you this now. We've there's this part of me personally. There's a part of me personally, William part of me, that wants to just try and put it all in. Is an electrical organism. It's firing all the time. It burns a lot of energy electrically, and so the system, as if you ever find yourself feeling hot all of a sudden, it usually means you're dehydrated. You need to put water in. Um, if you find your lips being dry, it means you need water. You know, those system. You are the operator. Remember that. They told me that a long time ago. This is your operating system. You are the operator. Don't confuse yourself with the operating system. Learn to recognize the system and change it if it does not serve you. Wonderful. So we're down to our last 5 minutes. So I invite all of you to come and join the 1 Billion Strong movement and to participate. It's a Facebook group, 1 billion. I guess I've got a lag here because it's not letting me end the stream. There we go.